So I think I've actually managed to find the world's worst Wi-Fi card. This is a USB dongle, and I picked it up off eBay. It was dirt cheap, don't get me wrong. It was £3.99 and free shipping, and I picked this one because it's got this external antenna, so I knew it would be really easy to actually modify this to either solder with some coax directly onto the dongle itself, or add a little SMA bulkhead connector. Now, before I actually plug it in and show you how bad it really is, I want to show you the insides of the board here, because I was actually quite impressed when I opened this up. There's a lot of potential that you could do with this card. So like I said, when I opened it up, I was quite surprised to actually find a high-rose connector here leading off to the antenna itself. And the reason why I was surprised to see that there is because this costs money, and this Wi-Fi card is £3.99. So the UK seller had got them from China. You can actually buy these in bulk on Alibaba. But, you know, to actually leave that in, it costs money. So you would have thought that to keep the price point down, they would have soldered directly onto the board, but they haven't. And the second thing that surprised me was there's a second high-rose connector here for a second antenna on the board. And yes, it is fully populated, and yes, it does work. So you've got the potential there of actually adding two antennas to this one board. So this is a Rail-Link chipset. It's a 2770F chipset, which is not bad. Works with Linux as well, although I'm not sure. It says Mac OS on the actual packaging, but sometimes, you know, you can buy something like that for your Mac and it won't work, but it does definitely work with Linux. And the other thing that I was actually surprised about is all the programming headers here are actually left in place. I don't think it's JTAG, but it may well be, I don't know. But over here as well, we've actually got a USB header, so you could desolder the USB connections here, and you can wire directly into here to actually get your data and power in and out of the card itself. So, you know, it's a very hackable little package. I actually liked it. So with the antenna connected here, and with an antenna port here, which again is fully populated and works, I was expecting this card to be quite promising, and I did actually open it up before I actually plugged it in, just to make sure that I could hack it so I could use it in the project that I wanted to do with it. But when I did actually plug it in, the signal strength was extremely poor, and I'll show you that in a moment. But the seller did say that, you know, nobody's ever complained about it, and to his credit, he has sold something like 84 of these and nobody's ever left him negative feedback. So he did send me the second one out, and that is just the same as the first one. So I won't actually put in the description who the seller is, and I have actually left him positive feedback as a seller, because as a seller I can't fault him. It's just that the product wasn't up to scratch. So to show you how bad this adapter really is, I've put a test router downstairs, and it's literally just underneath the bench here, one floor down. So I'm going to do a scan, and we'll see what kind of signal performance we get from that test router. So there's my test router there, and it's currently at 50%. Now it should be up into the 80% mark there, because it's just literally underneath the bench here. So it's coming in at 50%. It keeps dropping down slightly, and I have noticed one thing about this USB dongle. The longer it's actually powered on, the worse it actually gets, because it gets insanely hot around the top part of the dongle here. It really does get hot enough to actually burn you. And just to show you how poor that signal really is, I've got another cheap USB dongle here. I got this even cheaper than that one. I think it was about £2, but I did get this from China. And it's typical of what you find on eBay. So we'll plug this in and see what kind of signal we get from the test router with this little adapter. So let's do a scan with the Digitaz then and see what that performs like. So as you can see, the test router is in the 90s. It's just dropped to 86% now, back in the 90s though, and that is the kind of signal strength you should be able to get from a USB dongle with an external antenna. Now, I don't have a fancy thermal imaging camera, but look how hot that inductor gets. It actually burns you to touch, and you can actually feel the heat coming off in that one area there. So because of the heat problems in this area, and I think it is probably this inductor here, all that heat spreads to the rest of the components, especially to the main chip here, and that's probably why the actual Wi-Fi signal is so poor with this card itself. It does, the longer you have it connected in there, the signal does start to degrade, and it's something you have to be really careful of with wireless products, especially routers. Some routers, especially if you're in a hot country, if you put a fan next to your router, you will probably find that your speed and your range actually increases. And I have seen some examples where in some really hot countries people have actually put fan modifications onto their routers as well to get a much better signal and much better data throughput with there, because the heat really can kill a RF Wi-Fi signal. So just a short video then, just to show you the insides of this cheap Wi-Fi dongle. And again, to the seller's credit, he did send me this second one out when I told him that this wasn't actually performing as it should. And to give him his credit, he probably buys them in bulk from Alibaba or somewhere similar, and he just sells them on. And if nobody's ever complained, because like I say, at the end of the day it does work, then he's probably not to know. So yeah, to his credit, he sent me that second one out, but you know, unless I can find some kind of use for the actual case, it's probably not much good to me. So if you did find it interesting, please give it a thumbs up, questions below, and hopefully you'll join me on the next one.